Today, this video is all about Sugar Ray's debut album, first major release, Sugar Ray, Lemonade and Brownies. And what I have in my hand right here is a super highly rare Japanese version of Lemonade and Brownies. As you can see, it is still sealed after all of these years. This album came out in 1995. It has the OB strip here that usually comes exclusive with Japanese releases. And this version has 4 extra tracks. The USA version would just end at track 14. But here there are the bonus tracks White Minority, Wasted, Wango Tango, and Dr. J. So after years and years of trying to hunt this copy down, I finally found it, and it's sealed. So I had first heard about the existence of this album through the breakout hit song Mean Machine, which the music video for that was featured on a Beavis and Butthead episode. So that's how I first saw it. And ever since then, it always sat in the back of my head. And it was until about 2003, I was in high school, I was like, man, I remember Sugar Ray really had that really hard and heavy song, that album. You know, now they're just playing very poppy kind of stuff, but back when they first started, they were so hardcore to the point to where I consider this album one of the top 10 best rock albums of all time. There's also some hip-hop influences in the songs too as well, but all in all, it's just a standard hard rock, straight through, heavy-hitting rock album, and it's just a classic. So as I finally got a car, I drove to the used CD shop, and I found a copy of Lemonade and Brownies here. It was the American version, obviously. Popped it in my CD player, and I just rocked that album so hard. Even to this day, it is so great. Not just because the songs are like heavy and the songwriting's great, just the way it's produced as well. Like, since I'm a musician, I listen to this album as an example of how to make the drums, the bass, the guitars, just everything sound much more powerful than opposed to other rock albums. And that's how I mix things. I use this album as an example. So that's how important this album is to me, at least. It's mixed well, it's recorded well. It's actually produced by, if you see that there, DJ Lethal from Limp Bizkit. So I think it was around the time he had joined Limp Bizkit, or maybe a year or two beforehand. But yeah, DJ Lethal produced this album. And Mick G. He was DJ Lethal was the executive producer, but yeah, he had his hand on this album as well. Now, the front cover here, as you see, on top of it being a great sounding album, I really do think they have the coolest album cover right here. I don't even need to explain what is on this album cover. It's just awesome. Enough said. So you look on the back, this looks like a photo of the 4 men from Sugar Ray that were on some type of amusement park ride, and their photo was taken. And the track listing is on here, but here it's more apparent. Snug Harbor, Rhyme Stealer, Iron Mike, Hold Your Eyes, The Greatest, Big Black Woman, Mean Machine, Dance Party USA, 10 Seconds Down, Danzig Needs a Hug, Drive By, which is like a skit, but it's got such a great riff to it. Caboose, which was almost like Sugar Ray's first song, really, that got them the record deal here. Scuzz Boots, Streaker, and that's the final track on the American version. And after Streaker ends, there's a little bit of silence, and then at the very, very end, there's a hidden track. It's like a very low quality sounding like country song with just the guitar and Mark McGrath singing, which is pretty good too. Then we got the bonus tracks here: 15 White Minority, 16 Wasted, 17 Wango Tango, and 18 Dr. J Live. So get a good look at the exclusive OB strip there, right there. But yeah, this is one of my prized possessions as a CD collector. Such an awesome find. I got this off of eBay. I found it for like $60. So definitely did pay a premium for it, but it was worth it, being one of the greatest albums of all time. So I also have some CDs, these promotional discs that were given out before the album officially dropped. And this is for Mean Machine, but there are also some bonus tracks on there as well. The White Minority, Wasted, Wango Tango. So there is that one. As you can see, promo copy not for sale. And then we have this one that has their dates, I think probably for 95, them touring. And this has The Club on it. Big Black Woman, Mean Machine. The Club was also a track that wasn't even on the Japanese version, but I think it wound up on Road Rash 64, the soundtrack for that. But yeah, The Club was recorded during the Lemonade and Brownie days. Here is the next promo CD. This just has 10 Seconds Down in Mean Machine, which is off the official album there. Oh, the Mean Machine is the live version. Okay. Yeah, I remember that now. So, a little different. And yeah, here is the damaged version of the Japanese CD that the Postal Service really wrecked up. The CD is probably still good, yeah. But yeah, just to have something in mint really wrecked up the front of the album cover, and I was pissed. So what we have here that's been staring at us this entire time is a press kit. And these were given out to, well, the press to basically explain what Sugar Ray and this latest release is all about. So basically, this being their first release, this has Sugar Ray's very nice condensed version of their origin story. So first we'll take a look at the glossy photo of all the boys here. Here's Rodney Shepherd, guitar, Stan Frazier, drums, Mark McGrath, vocals, and Murphy Cargus. He is the bass. And right here, we've got the nice little blurb about the boys. The memory of that day just won't go away. The echo of "Hut, Hut, Hut" echoed through the Los Angeles offices at Atlantic Records as the four men of Sugar Ray, dressed only in football helmets, combat boots, and jock straps, marched down the hallway to formally deliver their completed debut album, Lemonade and Brownies. After executing some fine drill work, they left without a word, leaving behind a faint locker room scent and a tangle of silly string. Welcome to the pleasure dome of California's Sugar Ray. Grab a broom and hit the Lysol. For the telemarketer, Rodney, paralegal, Stan, truck driver, Mark, and failed security guard turned pizza chef, Murphy, Sugar Ray has afforded the opportunity to bust out and presents themselves to an environment of bare-butt debauchery. I think they meant to say present themselves, but anyways. The great streakers of the 70s, remember that guy at the Oscars? Serve as revered role models. Out of all of us, Stan especially maintains that 70s ideology of fun and free love, says Mark. He is Keith Moon. He tried to streak at Jurassic Park, right past some old lady who had just come out of the Coco's restaurant. But let's face it, this isn't the 70s anymore. When they used to hand you a towel and send you off with a rat tail on the ass, now they put you in jail. They keep streaking at the movies, particularly for the summer movie sequel season. But I'm tired of getting arrested, says Stan. I can't post the bail. Once all the pieces were in place, Sugar Ray aligned themselves with the gods of horseplay on stages throughout Orange County and truly became a band. With each show, the adrenaline ran hotter and the crowds grew larger and nuttier. Other than their typically riotous San Diego performances, particular live highlights include recent opening sets with Buddy's House of Pain, most notably an SRO gig at LA's House of Blues. Combined resume entries among the members of Sugar Ray don't add up to much, not that it matters. Murphy did a stint playing bass for LA punk pioneers The Weirdos on a 1990 US tour opening for the Circle Jerks, while Rodney was briefly a cast member on Land of the Lost, where he played the fuzzy, lovable Chaka. Unfortunately, the gig only lasted through the first 6 episodes. Remember how there were 2 Darrens on Bewitched? Similar deal. It was another lifetime, says Shepherd. Here and Now is Lemonade and Brownies, the album. In keeping with the widely varied musical tastes of Sugar Ray, is an eclectic affair. Styles roam unencumbered from the R&B vocal of Scuzz Boots to the Price is Right ditty romp of Danzig Needs a Hug to the flat-out guitar-rama of Rhyme Stealer. Every track has a different personality, says Murphy. The hip-hop flavor that permeates much of the album stemmed from an interest in expanding the mood and sonics of their live performances. The resulting addition of DJ Homicide to the fold went over so big with Sugar Ray fans that it wasn't long before he became a permanent fixture on stage. Homicide, who does most of the scratching on the album, hosts a Saturday night show at Los Angeles' The Beat 92.3 FM, one of the city's premier hip-hop stations. Sugar Ray's hip-hop troops also include House of Pain's DJ Lethal, executive producer and master of all beats, and mixing engineer Jason Roberts, House of Pain, Cypress Hill, Funk Dubious, in what was Roberts' first ever rock project. We're just rap fans, says Mark. Adding a hip-hop element to our music is a natural part of that appreciation. The constant in all of the band's assorted tastes is a gravitation towards music that exudes a free-flowing juice and sends you leaping around the house. Van Halen records always did that for me. License to Ill did that for me. And Nevermind the Bollocks did that for me, says Mark. I just loved the energy of those albums. Ted Nugent, too. Ted is my big hairy Cupid, and he shoots me in the ass with those big fucking fire darts. Instilling Lemonade and Brownies recording sessions with the adrenaline that fuels their live antics was essential. Mark was up to the challenge. Guys, I have one more hour before I pass out. Let's see what happens. I can't just wake up at 10 a.m., step to the mic, and wah! I have to go through my little ritual. Beer, shot, beer, shot, beer, shot, roll tape. It's bad for the vocal cords, but it's good for building character. Mark is similarly confessional when it comes to lyrical inspiration. 10 Seconds Down is his ode to sexual dissatisfaction and ESPN's Dan Patrick. I'm really bad in the sack, says Mark. The problem is that I only last for about 10 seconds and I could only do it once. Seriously. Afterwards, I immediately need to hit the remote control so I could switch on SportsCenter. The skit-oriented vibe tracks found throughout the record provide little windows into the band's singular sense of humor and their dietary habits. Example, Drive By. As for the group's first single, Mean Machine is a loving tribute to the singer's barf green vintage Cadillac. I'm psychotically in love with that car, so I had to incorporate it into the album somehow, says Mark. With the recent arrival of Murphy's 68 Charger in the driveway, Sugar Ray are now a two-Mean Machine household. The band, along with producer, videographer, designated driver Mick G, have been living together for some time now out in Los Angeles. By a strange twist of skewed property values and true crime, the low-rent-paying band managed to secure a house in a neighborhood full of ambitious professionals and young families. The welcome wagon never paid a visit. Can you imagine going to school for 20 years and working hard all your life, only to see the Scooby-Doo van pull up next door with your new neighbors? Says Mark. They hate us. Sometimes they'll stick their whiny brats in the pool at 6 in the morning to get back at us. They'll also turn their sprinklers on when our cars are out front with the windows open. Still, there's nothing worse than when we come home at 4 a.m. totally drunk. We always get the last laugh. The usual personality conflicts that arise from communal band living were precluded by years of bonding. The four of us were already good friends, so there were no surprises when we moved in together, says Mark. We knew each other's idiosyncrasies. It wasn't like the real world, where you had to find out about everyone's weirdness. The benefits of this domestic chemistry is regularly revealed in Stan's gourmet pizza dishes and spontaneous woodshedding of new material. Sometimes Stan and I will be taking a bath, and we'll come up with an idea for a vibe track, says Mark. Then Murphy will hop in and we'll come up with a punk song. Don't even ask what happens when they towel off. So as that concludes us checking out Sugar Ray's press kit for Lemonade and Brownies, I have to say about this album and how Sugar Ray wound up being who they are today is they started out as a hardcore punk rock band. And after this album came the album Floored, which had their widely hit song Fly on there. And Fly was a huge departure from the material on this and a lot of the stuff on Floored. Fly was like the one song on Floored that was completely different. And since that was the big hit, Sugar Ray saw that as, hey, we need to ride this hit out, make more songs like that to keep our careers going. Which I don't blame them for that. If you're able to actually run into some money after, really working hard, and, you put out this really cool stuff, but it really doesn't take off, and you finally hit something that does, more power to them. Now, am I a fan of the later stuff? Somewhat, but nothing is really going to hit as much as this first album. And I just wish now at this point they could maybe go back and do that again. But seeing that Stan and Murphy are out of Sugar Ray and it's just Mark and Rodney still, which is fine. Mark and Rodney, they were kind of like both the main guys in there. Rodney with all the great guitar riffs, and Mark McGrath being Mark McGrath. I actually saw Sugar Ray at Epcot last year, and they played Mean Machine live, and it was just so awesome. And they don't stray away from their old material or try to forget it. They embrace it, and they still love it and everything else. So that's what's really cool about Sugar Ray to this day. And yeah, I just have to say, Lemonade and Brownies, a very, very solid album. It is one of the best ones. It's a good one. I recommend you guys checking it out. And there you have it. Thank you guys for watching. I'm DJ Glowing Ice for Industrial Industries World Radio. And I will see you next time. Peace out.